If there's one character in Archer who fuels the show's boozy, backstabbing chaos more than Sterling Archer himself, it's his mother, Malory. As the hard-drinking head of ISIS, the show's unfortunately named spy agency, and matriarch of its misfit band of spies, Malory orchestrates the madness with a manicured iron fist. She's ruthless, witty, and utterly unapologetic, delivering some of Archer's darkest humor while occasionally revealing a heart, albeit deep, deep down. Malory is the kind of boss who will lie, cheat, and sacrifice any pawn, even her own son, to come out on top. She isn't just another agent of chaos, however. She's the unflinching foundation of the show. Archer simply wouldn't be the same without Malory's merciless wit, unapologetic selfishness, and old-school espionage swagger. So let's raise a glass to Malory Archer, who started as a steely, unshakable matriarch in Season 1 and left us in Season 12 with an unexpectedly emotional goodbye that proved even the coldest hearts can find a warm exit.
If I cared about what you do on the weekend, I'd stick a shotgun in my mouth and pull the trigger with my toes.
Malory Archer might just be the most gloriously self-centered matriarch in adult animation. From the moment we meet her in Season 1, she's running the show while making every crisis about herself. She'll hijack any situation for her own gain, and she's not shy about it. She even roped her own son into seducing a gay Cuban spy just to get her stolen sex tape back. Other people, even her own child, are simply tools to be used in service of her ego. Malory's narcissism is practically a force of nature. She truly believes the world revolves around her, and she acts accordingly. The irony is that she has zero patience when anyone else plays the victim, often mocking other people's sob stories.
I can't make ends meet. I'm on food stamps. My child died because I couldn't afford new bone marrow. Just me.
To Malory, other people's tragedies are nothing but an inconvenience, or worse, evidence of their own weakness. Meanwhile, her problems deserve everyone's full attention. She'll gladly launch into a tirade about how she's been wronged, and the lengths she'll go to indulge herself are downright absurd. In the Season 1 episode Skytanic, Malory faked a bomb threat to hijack Trudy Beekman's luxury blimp vacation. Trudy Beekman, of course, being her neighbor, with whom she has a lot of resentment for. Another example comes in the Season 4 episode Live and Let Dine, where Malory fakes a terrorist plot at a restaurant just to secure a reservation. Though there actually did end up being a terrorist attack, but it was completely unrelated to the setup. This woman will literally lie, cheat, steal, or even shoot herself if it means coming out on top. The selfishness is so audacious you can't help but laugh at it. Crucially, Malory lacks any self-awareness about her flaws. At one point, she actually calls Archer a vain, selfish, lying alcoholic man whore, a description that of course also fits her perfectly. She's oblivious to the hypocrisy, forever convinced that she's right and everyone else is an idiot or ingrate. Malory expects absolute loyalty and adoration, and if she doesn't get it, she'll scorch the earth with insults until she does. If Malory's narcissism defines her personal ego, her elitism defines her worldview. She is a snob to her core, proudly elitist and not remotely apologetic about it. In Malory's eyes, there is a hierarchy to everything, and she is always at the top. She views being a teacher, or really any normal job for that matter, as being for losers and beneath her. She looks down on anyone who isn't wealthy, powerful, or useful to her, and she does not limit her scorn to careers. She'll take swipes at entire groups of people without batting an eye.
Immigrants! That's how they do, you know? Just drive around listening to raps and shooting all the jobs.
This shows how Malory's prejudices often burst out in the most inappropriate ways. Her old-school country club bigotry crops up frequently. Most of the time, these attitudes are played for dark comedy, underlining how ridiculous and awful her elitist mindset can be. Malory's snobbery also plays out on a personal level with her employees and family. She holds everyone to impossible standards and delights in tearing them down. In the Season 3 two-parter Space Race, when Cheryl started fantasizing about becoming queen of the new Mars colony, Malory is very quick to shut her down.
Your queen commands you!
Please, you're not fit to be queen of... Name a place.
This is ironic because Cheryl comes from a very well-off family responsible for making all of the railroads that run through the continent, making her borderline royalty as is. Malory's point with this line is to remind everyone who the real queen is, herself. She'll call her top agent, who is also her son, an idiot to his face, ridicule Pam about her weight or background growing up on a dairy farm in rural Wisconsin, or even make Woodhouse know he is never appreciated. Malory's elitism means she instinctively views others as beneath her, and so mocking and belittling them is just a part of her daily routine. It's a testament to the show's writing and Malory's sheer audacity that these scathing putdowns often land as some of the funniest lines throughout the show. Surprisingly, over the course of 12 seasons, we do catch glimmers that Malory isn't entirely heartless. Buried deep under that egomania and disdain, she does have genuine, if extremely dysfunctional, love for her family. She'd never admit it sober, but Malory cares about her son more than she lets on. Maybe way too much, but we'll touch on this later. Whenever Archer goes missing or is in mortal danger, she basically loses her mind with worry, going as far as to stop eating and sleeping while she frantically tries to save him. And as much as she calls him a disappointment, if you hurt Sterling, you better believe she will rain down vengeance. By the later seasons, Malory even reveals a soft spot for her granddaughter AJ. In the season 11 episode Caught Napping, AJ is kidnapped, and of course Malory is beside herself and ready to kill for her. Back in season 6, she even begs Lana to change her name to Malory, eventually settling for a middle name. Granted, she paid $22,500 for this.
Well, obviously that's not worth $100,000, but
50.
22.5, and I want a notarized copy of the revised birth certificate on my desk by Friday.
It's one of the few times we ever see Malory being truly vulnerable, though less than 5 minutes later she's scolding AJ for being too fat and trying to put her on a diet. Remind you that AJ is an infant here and looks to be perfectly healthy. These brief flickers of affection don't redeem Malory's behavior by any stretch, but they do make her a more complex figure. They show that under all that narcissism and scathing elitism, Malory Archer is still capable of love. A fierce, possessive, highly conditional love, but love nonetheless. We'll delve deeper into Malory's twisted approach to motherhood in a later section, but for now, it's enough to recognize this. Her defining traits are undeniable, yet they're a big part of what make Malory such a darkly compelling and perversely entertaining character.
Well, when you're this great at something, never stop doing it. You'll figure out the rest.
Malory Archer doesn't just run ISIS, she rules over it, equal parts petty tyrant and negligent parent. We've seen how her narcissism and elitism define her. As the ISIS director, those traits suffuse every corner of the workplace. Malory micromanages everything from field missions to hors d'oeuvres, always ready to remind her drones who is in charge. Her leadership style oscillates between strict control and blatant neglect. As long as the job gets done, collateral damage is just part of the day.
So when I asked for cucumber slices, which one of you idiots sent up zucchini?
Malory abuses her authority with shameless glee. She treats ISIS less like a professional spy agency and more like her personal tool for wealth and comfort. In fact, many of ISIS's wildest capers stem directly from Malory's self-serving schemes, such as the season 1 episode Skytanic, as we mentioned previously, where Malory orchestrates a phony bomb threat on a luxury airship just to get a free high-class blimp ride in place of a longtime rival. Or when she murders the Prime Minister of Italy for possibly gunning down Archer's father 20 years ago and gets the crew's help to clean up the crime scene while spinning a phony burglary story. She even shot herself to help sell this story. This is classic Malory, endangering countless others for petty vendettas. Her abuse of power knows few bounds. When a Ponzi scheme wipes out her savings in season 2, she does not hesitate to put ISIS on the chopping block, attempting to sell the entire agency to Odin. Unsurprisingly, the ISIS staff bands together to sabotage the sale and save their jobs, much to Malory's dismay. Malory's missions often double as personal errands or get-rich-quick plots, whether it's stealing a priceless artifact or offloading cocaine stockpiles during the Archer Vice era. She's usually motivated by bettering herself. In season 5, when ISIS turns into a makeshift drug cartel, Malory secretly strikes a deal to sell their cocaine stockpile through the CIA, keeping her own team in the dark the entire time. By the finale of the season, she's literally blackmailing a CIA official at gunpoint to ensure ISIS gets reinstated on her terms.
Or right after I take this deal to your partner in the cockpit, because you suddenly decided to take up skydiving.
Inside ISIS, Malory's relationships with her employees are dysfunctional at best and traumatic at worst. She bullies and belittles underlings like HR Director Pam and Secretary turned heiress Cheryl on a daily basis. Cyril gets treated as a barely competent accountant/spy, and even Lana is patronized and passed over whenever Sterling is involved. And Malory's favoritism towards her son is blatant and corrosive. She hands him his assignments, covers for his screw-ups, and funds his extravagant taste, all while dismissing others' accomplishments. As Lana frequently laments, It's infuriating working twice as hard for half the credit under a boss who's convinced her playboy man-child son walks on water. Malory's nepotism breeds resentment throughout the team, fueling a workplace atmosphere of backbiting and grudges that usually circle back to bite Malory herself. Yet, for all her abuse, the ISIS crew has a twisted loyalty to Malory, or at least a healthy fear of her wrath. They've learned to tiptoe around her ego and, when needed, even exploit her weaknesses. Still, when Malory barks an order, everyone quickly snaps in line. She rules by intimidation and cutting wit, keeping the team in chaos, yet somehow still effective. In many ways, Malory's office is a family business in the worst sense, full of dysfunction, dark humor, and codependency. And like any family, the children learn to survive their overbearing mother with a mix of rebellion and resignation. After all, Malory might be the boss from hell, but she's their boss from hell.
For God's sake, woman, where is your pride?
In my work?
That may be the funniest thing you've ever said.
Malory's leadership doesn't soften with age either. If anything, it gets more absurd. After ISIS is disbanded, she bankrolls the Figgis agency and immediately installs herself as puppet master. Ostensibly, she has retired and is letting Cyril act as CEO, but in practice, Malory cannot relinquish control. The moment Cyril tries to assert himself, Malory just pats his cheek, reminding him not while she's there.
I am, still the boss.
Well, but only when I'm not here.
With that emasculation, she reminds everyone that she is always the one in charge. Whether overseeing spies, drug dealers, or PIs, she remains the perpetual controlling leader hardened by a lifetime of espionage. Her narcissism and elitism extend seamlessly into the new workplace. Malory still micromanages investigations, still abuses company resources, and still terrorizes her underlings with withering sarcasm. The setting may be ever-changing, but Malory's management style does not change a bit. If anything, the Figgis agency era highlights Malory's unrepentant ego even more. She's technically just the financier, yet she inserts herself into cases and decisions at every turn, much to Cyril's impotent frustration. We even see rare flashes of almost affection in this period. But make no mistake, Malory Archer will undermine her own detectives if it suits her, just as she did with her spies. Through Malory's reign as boss, we see how her toxic blend of vanity and vindictiveness poisons the professional sphere just as it does her personal life. Yet, through all the micromanagement misadventures and power plays, there's an underlying method to her madness, a desperate need to stay on top and command respect, and ultimately shape the world and people in it around to her liking. This domineering streak plays out in Malory's most fraught relationship of all, the one with her son, Sterling Archer. After all, it's one thing to browbeat employees into line, but taming your own adult child is another mission entirely, even for Malory Archer.
After all, the real story's always been about you and me.
Malory Archer's maternal love for her son is a poisonous cocktail of codependency, scorn, and the occasional shot of buried affection. From season 2 onward, the show gleefully exposes their bizarre Oedipal tango, mixing genuine emotion with sharp sarcasm. In season 2's placebo effect, Malory flips through a photo album and solemnly confesses to Ray that she can't imagine her life without Sterling, all while proudly admitting she has never told Sterling a word of how she feels. Ray's response kinda nails it.
My mama told me how much she loved me all the time.
Exactly. Look how you turned out.
With high self-esteem?
It's classic Malory. She loves Sterling in theory, but for all practical purposes, she might as well be focused on rearranging Woodhouse's hair. Archer is psychologically imprisoned by his own mother, and Malory's refusal to show affection or even basic courtesy is the lock on that cage. Malory can't imagine life without him, just as long as he never actually hears that fact. She is more like a drill sergeant than a nurturing parent, and would rather call him an idiot than give him an honest compliment. This warped dynamic sets up all their scenes together. Malory plays emotional chicken, and Archer strains for affection that she dangles on a loop. Malory's affection often shows up in truly weird ways. For example, she lavishes attention on the family dog and any number of petty trophies while keeping Sterling at arm's length. She even went as far as to assign Archer's codename as Duchess, the name of the family dog, though of course she would never admit this was her doing.
My codename
Was chosen at random by the ISIS computer.
Random? It was your dog's name.
Oh, Duchess. I loved her so much.
In the season 4 episode Un Chien Tangerine, we learn that Malory once took her beloved Duchess on a horse-drawn carriage ride through Central Park for her birthday. Archer was home scrubbing the fireplace, quipping that she never forgets the dog's birthday, implying of course that she's forgotten Archer's birthday on more than one occasion. This kind of neglect is pure Lucille Bluth territory. We all know Lucille from Arrested Development, also played by Jessica Walter, who of course famously ranks her own children, telling Michael he is her third least favorite child. She treats them like little inconveniences. Malory is cut from the same cloth. She's oblivious to Sterling's emotional needs and more intrigued by pedigree and protocol. In Placebo Effect, it's also revealed that Malory didn't even attend Sterling's christening, and later she admits to Ray that she lacks the basic self-awareness to realize that her career obsession left her with next to no relationship with her son. Instead of apologizing, she plays the victim card, sneering at Ray when called out on this fact. In short, Malory's parenting is a catalog of missed birthdays and lessons taught by absence. Archer lost his childhood bicycle when Malory literally stole it to punish him and teach him a lesson, but she never gave it back once she taught him that lesson, which of course traumatized Archer, which is seen in the season 3 episode Drift Problem, when Malory does the same thing but with his birthday car.
Why would you do that?
To teach you a lesson, just like with that damn bicycle when you were 8 years old.
I don't.
She took it.
Ironically, Lucille Bluth similarly withheld gifts as punishment. Like Buster's red helicopter toy, Malory's emotional control tactics also mirror Lucille's style. Both women weaponize affection. Lucille might buy a rare treasure one moment, and then withhold basic niceties in the next moment, calling it tough love. Malory is the same, but even more transparent. Her jealousy over Archer's relationships is disturbing, to say the least. Archer lays out the mother syndrome in the season 3 episode Skin Game. Over dinner, he tells his recently murdered fiancée turned cyborg Katya exactly why Malory hates her. That Katya threatens Malory's role as the ultimate object of Archer's affection. In a rare flash of lucidity, he explains that Katya is the one woman who can free him from the psychological prison Malory spent a lifetime erecting. Malory literally built a cage out of her neediness. Katya initially takes this to mean Malory hates her because she is a cyborg, but Archer quickly shuts this down, exclaiming Malory would hate her no matter what because she is losing control over Archer's heart. Later on in the same episode, Lana jokes about Archer and really gets to the core of his issues here.
I think if you're looking for insight into why Archer is Archer, you need to jump in a time machine and then go have a threesome with Oedipus and Sigmund Freud.
It is clear that Archer's only chance of freedom from his mother's chokehold is through romantic love, or a grilled cheese. But Malory does everything she can to sabotage his romances, preventing escape from that chokehold. Malory's compliments are usually rare and hard to swallow. In the season 3 finale Space Race Part 2, Archer saves his mom and the world, and of course Malory tries to pull off a proud mother moment, which is cut short by her slapping Archer immediately afterwards. While Malory genuinely wants to give an honest compliment, she cannot resist slipping in an insult with it. Malory's flip-flop between maternal warmth and icy cruelty gets worse in the later seasons. In the season 6 episode Reignition sequence, Archer and Lana are giddily in love again until he mentions it must be kept a secret from his mother. He's half joking, but later events prove him right.
Because she tried to break us up somehow. She can't stand for me to be in a relationship. I think it actually causes her physical pain.
Yet, for all of this, the Archer writers still let Malory care in her own twisted way. The Vanity Fair tribute to Jessica Walter notes that unlike Lucille, series creator Adam Reed's vision for Malory included the irritating seed of affection that Arrested Development always dispensed with. Malory actually does care about Sterling, and we see it in tiny gestures like the aforementioned grilled cheese.
Grill me a cheese.
I'm not grilling you a cheese. Oh, for God's sake.
Over 12 seasons, Malory and Sterling's dynamic stays reliably toxic, but gains texture. In season 1, Malory is mostly just the omnipotent boss who happens to be Archer's mom. By season 2, we get the first cracks that reveal Malory's feelings for Archer. Season 3 is the mother-ship of mother-son episodes, delving further into the biological father debacle. And moving forward, the pattern holds true. Seasons 4 and 5 sprinkle in character moments without changing the core of their relationship, and by season 6, it's established that Malory will do whatever it takes to keep Archer single and miserable. Throughout the coma seasons, their relationship morphs to fit whatever era and story is being told within the coma, but still contains elements of their original relationship. And of course, season 11's return out of the coma brings things full circle with their relationship, revealing Malory actually stayed at the hospital during the coma almost the entire time.
Wait, why are you here at midnight on a Sunday?
She's always here.
Oh, no,
Not always.
The final seasons double down on the same love-hate shtick while letting each character reflect a bit more. Archer learns how to bluntly call Malory out, and Malory even has a few moments of actual concern. Though the irreverent tone stays consistent, nothing about Malory and Sterling is sentimental. They're an abusive buddy comedy as much as a mother-son story. But beyond the jokes, there's a strange mutual respect buried beneath the barrage of insults. Malory truly believes Archer is indispensable to her life, and Archer never fully lets go of that needy child wanting his mom's approval. Their bond is masochistic, built on resentment and manipulation, absolutely codependent, yet sprinkled with the tiniest grains of affection. At the end of the day, Malory and Sterling's relationship is a masterpiece of twisted writing. The show makes us laugh at how awful they are to each other, but every once in a while at how fiercely they need each other. It's like Malory's life centers around keeping Archer in line, and Archer's is centered on loathing that fact, and somehow that just works.
Because from wherever I am, I'll be watching over you. Love, Mother.
Jessica Walter's passing in March 2021 truly marked the end of an era for Archer. With her went the incomparable voice of Malory Archer, the acid-tongued matriarch who anchored the show's comedy and heart for over a decade. Walter's legacy in animation and TV was formidable. She brought a distinctive blend of elegance, biting humor, and impeccable timing to every performance. She spent 6 decades bringing joy to others through her storytelling, and she'll be remembered for her sophistication, vibrant spirit, and overall jeu de vivre. On Archer, she turned Malory into an icon of her own, a domineering, martini-clutching spy master whose presence was both hilarious and towering. Little wonder that saying goodbye to both the character and the woman behind her was an emotional moment for fans and creators alike. The show's writers faced the daunting task of writing off Malory Archer in a way that honored both the character and Walter's legacy, and they rose to the challenge with the Archer Season 12 finale, appropriately titled Mission Difficult, which doubles as a heartfelt farewell. In the episode's climax, Malory mysteriously vanishes after helping save Sterling one last time. Archer later discovered a letter from his mother explaining her sudden disappearance. Ever pragmatic Malory writes that with all the recent chaos, she thought it best to make her own exit.
And so I've decided that it's time to pass the torch. Try not to burn yourselves with it.
It's a line so perfectly Malory, equal parts of advice and snark. One can't help but hear Walter's dry-cutting delivery in it. Malory assures her son that she will be watching over him, and this leads into an epilogue that gives Malory Archer the graceful, oddly touching send-off she deserved. In the final scene, we see Malory literally sail off into the sunset, lounging on a tropical beach, sun hat on, and cocktail in hand, holding hands with her beloved husband, Ron Cadillac. It is a bittersweet happily ever after, one that takes her far away from the spy game's dangers and into a life of eternal love and leisure. And for an extra layer of poignancy, Ron Cadillac is voiced by Jessica Walter's real-life husband, Ron Liebman, who passed a few years before Walter. By reuniting Malory with Ron on that beach, Archer paid tribute not only to the character's story, but to Walter's own love story. The episode then cuts to a title card dedicated to Jessica Walter. It's a send-off that was equal parts gut punch and catharsis, bringing a rare lump to the throat for even the most stoic Archer fans. Behind the scenes, the Archer team went to remarkable lengths to craft this farewell. Jessica Walter had recorded nearly all of her season 12 dialogue before her death, but for the epilogue's new moments, the producers turned to the archives. Executive producer Casey Willis revealed that they combed through every season of Archer, collecting Jessica and Ron's past recordings, and selected those they thought would foster the feeling we were trying to evoke. In other words, Malory's final lines were lovingly Frankenstein together from unused takes and old dialogue, ensuring that Walter's actual voice would guide Malory off into the sunset.
Isn't it obvious? Guess the old gal still got it.
The result is seamless and deeply moving. Walter's performance, even pieced together posthumously, loses none of its bite or warmth. In fact, knowing that her voice was literally resurrected from the past for this last goodbye only makes this moment hit harder. It's as if Jessica never left. She is Malory in those final minutes, watching over Archer one last time. And most everyone, viewers and creators alike, felt this was a perfect farewell, noting that Archer got the final word right by giving giving Malory and Walter a proper in-character goodbye. The thematic resonance of Malory's send-off is hard to overstate. By letting Malory disappear on her terms, she reminds Archer of her earliest lesson to him: always know where the exits are. The show honored the character's fierce independence. Malory Archer exits the stage exactly as someone like her would, deliberately, stylishly, and a step ahead of her enemies. The image of Malory contentedly sipping a cocktail with Ron in paradise isn't just some random happy ending, it's a symbolic capstone for both her character and Jessica Walter's persona. Throughout the series, Malory often sacrificed personal happiness for power and control, but here we finally see her choose personal peace. In a meta sense, it was the show's gentle way of laying the character to rest, giving Malory a reward for all the mayhem she endured and caused. It also feels like a love letter to Jessica Walter herself. Malory's happily ever after with Ron is more than just fan service, it's a heartfelt tribute. It's rare for a raunchy animated comedy to pull off genuine emotion without veering into sap territory, but Archer kinda nailed it here. This finale manages to be irreverently true to the spirit of the show, including one last snarky line in the goodbye letter, while still delivering an unexpectedly sincere farewell.
And in a way that I can never be found by my enemies, or all my lovesick paramours, who are literally countless. Ugh.
Of course, Jessica Walter's absence left a noticeable void in Archer's subsequent seasons. Season 13 was the first produced without Walter's voice, and the changing of dynamics was palpable. Malory had been the glue holding this team together. Without her, the characters stumble through a world suddenly lacking their anchor. The season storyline even leans into this shift, and the week of his mother's departure, Sterling Archer becomes a bit of a wreck, as you might expect, drinking more than usual and veering off the rails to the point that his friends stage an intervention. It's a darkly funny echo of the real people behind the scenes, but rather than simply play Archer's downward spiral for laughs, the show uses it to explore the impact Malory had on his life. In a clever and macabre creative decision, the writers introduced Archer's new therapist, Dr. Malory Lacania. Yes, Malory. The coincidence is not lost on anyone except perhaps Sterling himself, who somehow failed to notice his therapist shares his mother's first name for almost a year.
Please, call me Malory.
Oh, no. Why?
Well, that's my name, Malory Lacania.
What an unfortunate coincidence.
The season 13 episode Out of Network dives headfirst into this Oedipal quagmire. Archer reveals he's secretly been seeing Dr. Lacania, seeking help for his issues, and when Lana and the gang discover this, chaos ensues. True to Archer's DNA, the situation escalates into absurdity. Fabian Kingsworth, the agency's current boss and rival, long story, sends a team to assassinate Dr. Lacania for not being in network, forcing the team to protect her and leading to an explosive showdown and a psychological farce. During the mayhem, Archer slowly realizes the truth. He has become emotionally dependent on and attracted to Dr. Lacania, a no-nonsense woman named Malory. The episode gleefully cranks up the awkwardness, even having Dr. Lacania dress up in Malory Archer's signature Chanel suit to confuse the hitmen. The result is as hilarious as it is cringe-inducing. Archer's therapy sessions turn into messy, sexually charged, and deeply Oedipal encounters, laying bare the mommy issues we always knew he had.
Stop. This is already a very confusing moment for me.
Why? Because your forbidden crush is wearing the dress of the mother who kept you in a state of childlike emotional dependence your whole life?
It's an irreverent narrative gambit, but it serves a larger purpose, to acknowledge just how profoundly Malory Archer shaped her son's psyche. Even in her physical absence, Malory's influence looms so large that Sterling literally finds another Malory to fill that void. A plot twist equal parts comedic and psychologically insightful. As Dr. Lacania herself notes in exasperation, Archer has essentially been seeking a surrogate for the mother he's lost, right down to the name. The romantic and creepy therapist storyline is the show's twisted way of grieving Malory, by turning the subtext of Archer's Oedipal complexities into a riotous text. And in doing so, Archer tips its hat to the irreplaceable woman who raised and traumatized Sterling, a sly acknowledgement that Malory Archer will forever be the dominant presence in Archer's life, even when she's not there. With Malory gone, Archer's world inevitably changed, and the show evolved in new directions. Lana, Cyril, and the rest of the gang must adjust to life without their fierce leader barking orders, the agency comes under new management, and the power dynamics shift, but you can feel Malory's absence in every scene. Even as Archer soldiers on, the spirit of Malory lingers. It lingers in Archer's continual quest for validation, and in the show's ongoing penchant for Malory-esque gallows humor, and in the occasional nods to her character that pop up in dialogue and plot. Season 13's finale and beyond subtly references reference Malory, whether it's a portrait in the office, a past remark, or simply the notable silence where her voice used to be. The series finale pays homage in its own quiet way, closing the book on Archer with the knowledge that Malory's chapter had already been lovingly shut.
Hey, Mother would be proud of both of us.
In the end, Malory Archer got something rare in the realm of adult animation, a genuine, meaningful goodbye. Her final scene wasn't just an ending, it was a celebration of everything she was. It's hard to imagine Archer ever recapturing the exact alchemy that Jessica Walter brought to the show. For 12 seasons, she was the razor-tongued heart of the series, and her departure leaves a void that can only be respected, not filled. Archer honored that fact by giving Malory a curtain call that felt true to her character and to Walter's legacy. As fans, we're left with grief tinged by gratitude. Grief that we no longer get new Malory lines, but gratitude that we did get to enjoy her at all, and that she went out on the highest of notes. Malory Archer's era may have ended, but her legend and her impact on Sterling, and on us all, will live on. Infinitely better for having known her.
And how is my lady love?
Infinitely better now.
Folks, thanks so much for tuning into this Archer video. I am a huge fan of this series, but this video was actually written and edited by Archer superfan Kayla Gale. Make sure to check out her work if it interests you, and stay tuned for likely more Archer videos in the future. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny Two Cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.